Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning. We're back to our regular format, but oh my God, you're definitely going to want to get to the Harry Meghan stuff. My God, you just can't make it up. Let's just jump in and get busy, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with Katherine, the Princess of Wales, because after she attended the ladies' single final on July 12th, she returned the next day to watch the men's final. As I told you before, Sunday was the last day, but this time she came with Prince William, Prince George, and Princess Charlotte. The entire family coordinated in blue. They looked absolutely gorgeous. George and William had ties. I loved Charlotte's dress. Absolutely adorable. Now, this is good training for the kids. That's why she's doing all of this. She introduced the children, by the way, as George and Charlotte. Of course, everybody was sad that Prince Louis wasn't there, but I don't think Louis enjoys tennis. Tennis, I believe, is Charlotte's thing. George's thing, I believe, is soccer. Maybe it's not a question of they didn't think that Louis couldn't behave. I think it's a question of Louis didn't want to go. You know what I mean? So this area they're in is called, I believe, Center Court. And after meeting everybody, now you can see what it looks like. They decided to walk. They have to walk over that, I call it a bridge walkway, to get to the other area. Now, you should know that children are usually not allowed in the royal box because there's only a small amount of seats. I believe it's like 72 or 74 seats, but exceptions are made for royal children. So, and Charlotte is 10 and George is going to be 12 this year. Can you imagine? So, of course, they're walking, they're waving. You had the typical yells, people calling out to them. And when you look at the crowds that were watching them cross the bridge, again, excellent training for the children because they're probably going to be subject to this kind of scrutiny and crowds for the rest of their lives. Let me just say really quickly, I love the braid going down the back of Charlotte's head. I love the way her hair is done. Now, as William walked in, there was a gentleman sitting there. He didn't get up like everybody else, but what you notice is that William basically said to him, "Stay seated. Don't get up." He's obviously having some sort of an issue. And the family went by, everybody said hello, and they got into their seats. I must say, I think that George and William were very brave. Remember, there's some sort of a heat wave, very hot in the UK, and they're sitting there in direct sunlight with jackets, shirts, ties. They probably were melting in the sun. And then, of course, the pictures of Charlotte reacting to what was going on the tennis court, just priceless. Look at those facial expressions. And of course, then we also saw her with the fan. Again, super hot there. She even fanned her mother for a while before her mother got around to putting on a hat. They were not the only royals in the box. His Majesty King Philippe VI of Spain was also spotted there to watch the men's finals. There was other royalty in the box. I'm air quoting royalty. It was Hollywood royalty. Matthew McConaughey and his wife were seen. Keira Knightley was seen, Nicole Kidman, and even Anna Wintour, who I told you yesterday was stepping down. She was there again as well. When the match was over, Katherine made her way out onto Center Court again, where she presented the Gentleman's Single Trophy to Jannik Sinner, I believe is how you say it. Looking fabulous, doing it, I might add. The necklace Katherine was wearing was from Daniela Draper, and apparently the chain to it is handmade. Love that. And a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what Katherine was wearing on this particular day. Also spotted on the very last day was Lord and Lady Frederick Windsor and Amelia Windsor. That dress is short. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce again for showing us what both of these lovely ladies were wearing. And now it's time to move on to some other royals. Let's move on to Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. She met and thanked members of the British forces, a EUFOR commander and the NATO headquarters in Sarajevo, as well as the commander for their coordinated efforts to support peace and security and support the constitutional order in Bosnia. And again, a thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us what Sophie was wearing. Now, moving on, the Crown, Sandringham, released photos of King Charles. He looks fabulous, and I can't help but wonder if they didn't release these photos because of what Harry said. We are moving on now to Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. She went and greeted competitors from 24 different island communities as they prepare for a week-long event. She officially opened the games in Orkney, and this happened on Saturday. This is the 20th year that they've had these games. There will be 2,000 athletes from 24 island groups, and there are 12 sports: archery, athletics, badminton, bowls, cycling, football, golf, gymnastics, sailing, squash, swimming, and the triathlon. This is the very first time that Orkney, I believe it's how you say it again, has hosted the games. So as Anne opened the games, she expressed gratitude for being invited to the opening ceremony and highlighted the unique challenges and rewards of participating in the games. And as a former Olympian, she acknowledged all the efforts of the athletes, officials, volunteers, and the island community in hosting the event. It's been reported over 1,200 medals are going to be awarded during the games. I just think that's lovely. I think Anne gave a great speech, and you know how much I like seeing her. And of course, before she left, somebody gave her some gorgeous flowers. All right, let's move on. Next up, the Duke of Gloucester visited on July 11th the Cornwall Museum and Art Gallery. In the afternoon, he visited the Cinnamon Trust to mark their 40th anniversary, and after that, he visited Clayworks Workshop. All right, I have some updates on some smaller stories. First of all, we know that Doria has moved out of the Montecito home, and now it's being said that the reason she moved out is because Meghan Markle has become moaning Meghan, and she couldn't take it anymore. All right, the next update we had was from this person on Twitter that pointed out that Emma Thynne, the Marchioness of Bath, put up these gorgeous pictures of a rosé that she apparently is selling, or sparkling wine, whatever. It looks fabulous. That's the way to do it. All right, let's move on. All right, this was really good. Do you guys remember when Harry went to the Nexus Summit and he gave that speech where he said such groundbreaking things, such as the longer you're alive, the more experience you have? Well, he was supposed to deliver an impactful speech talking about digital protection for the younger generation. And instead, he turned it into the past online torment of his wife, and that ended up becoming the primary focus, and it overshadowed the entire event's intended purpose. There was a lot of online reaction about how important it was to have qualified and credible speakers, and that's not Harry. Harry's unsuitable. And another person said that Harry doesn't have a platform, so he's using whatever platform he has to continue his victim narrative. That's 100% correct. It was pointed out that what Harry did took away from the really important matter at hand. And people are now talking about the fact that a few years ago, if Harry went somewhere, it was front page headlines. But now it seeps into the background. They could easily disappear from public limelight if they wanted. They're not that famous. They just don't want to. But it's official. Harry does not regret anything he's done, said, or twerked. He's made his choice, and there will be no reconciliation within his family. And so now he's got to play the victim card because it's the last card in his losing hand. But the one comment that really caught my attention was where somebody said, and I'm quoting, "It's always Meghan, his mom, or bashing his family. It's old, it's tiresome. Meghan, Meghan, Meghan. He's obsessed with her." I completely agree. Let's move on. Oh my God. Okay, I had to touch on this story. You guys remember that Harry, bonded with John Travolta at the Legends of Aviation Award in 2024. And apparently Harry made a horrible joke. "When I was 1 year old, you danced with my mom, as you've told everybody here, and continue to dine out on that probably every single night. But look at us now. It's great. So if we're not going to dance together, we'll fly together." You guys remember that? And it was at this time that Harry, it's being reported, started to confide in John Travolta for life advice. Everything from parenting to navigating life with a high-profile wife. So it didn't take long. There was a stall in their friendship with allegations that John Travolta was ghosting him, and it might have something to do with the feud with William. What's being reported is that it's Meghan who's disappointed because she thought that John Travolta could bring them genuine credibility and star power to, the inner circle that they've been locked out of. But he's focusing on his own life. He doesn't want to be on quote unquote Team Sussex. So once again, Harry takes no responsibility for his own actions. Moving on. All right, the next story I just want to touch on is the fact that Meghan has hijacked Harry's greatest source of comfort, which is his mother. But what she's done is taken his legacy, releasing the wine on her birthday, dressing like her, telling Harry at the Platinum Jubilee that she's in touch with Diana. Yeah, she's taken it over. All right, I want to touch on these just to show you the difference. This article says that Harry and Meghan offer nothing of value, that Netflix is struggling to justify the $100 million deal they gave them, and yet at the same time, articles are coming out saying they're being praised for fulfilling their agreement. Huh? And what's being said is that even though Live to Lead and Invictus and Polo and everything else that they did bombed, including Meghan's As Ever, which was absolutely panned, the reason that they quote unquote fulfilled the contract is because Netflix signed with them for no other reason than to get the inside story on their royal life, and they got it. So therefore they did fulfill the contract. You know what? In the end, it doesn't matter because Netflix doesn't do those big deals anymore. They're going to be signing in the future on a base by base, case by case basis. So if Harry and Meghan don't have a good, something to put up, they won't make any money. And finally, an update to the story from yesterday. I told you I was going to keep an eye on this. We all knew that reconciliation story never made sense. We all noticed that Mr. Andrea, the man who works for King Charles, looked very perplexed by the fact that the camera was there, while Miss Maines didn't seem to be bothered. Nobody was really wondering what was going on. And so finally, Rebecca English, who works for the Mail, and Charlotte Griffin, who works for the Mail's sister paper, the Mail on Sunday, they reached out, and this is what they had to say. It is looking like Harry and Meghan want to return to the UK. Harry and Meghan's two employees met for a series of meetings that included British businesses, charitable partners, London-based press and television journalists, and the itinerary suggests that Harry and Meghan are launching a charm offensive in the UK in a bid to turn around their negative public image. Good luck with that. So for those of you in the UK, they're saying brace yourselves because you're about to get a deluge of pro-Sussex media coming to you from the press and the TV. And it's all likely Invictus related because Invictus needs the TV coverage. They need the UK press on their side. They need British sponsorship. And after the likely flop at Whistler, they need Harry to sort out his relationship with the UK public. The Mail says it was suggested a meeting with Buckingham Palace's Director of Communications, Mr. Andre, who you saw, might be possible while Miss Maines was in the UK. And it was just to open communications with the Sussex's new PR team because they keep losing staff. There was surprise and a wary resignation among senior courtiers when they saw the pictures of the meeting because it was a closely guarded secret and it was published in the media at the weekend. So there you go. Buckingham Palace got burned. Montecito people leaked it. They either leaked it from their side, either directly or indirectly with the journalists they were meeting and blabbing to. So there you go. I mean, people are saying, you have to ask yourselves, did some random figure just happen to pass by and go, oh, look, there's Toby Andres talking to the Sussex team. Let's take a picture and sell it to the newspapers. I mean, it's far-fetched, and it's also odd to have a meeting on a balcony if it's meant to be private. So it's being reported now that Harry and Meghan are having to backpedal and go on emergency damage control, as well as Buckingham Palace senior courtiers, because they were essentially hoodwinked. The fact is, Harry cannot rehab diddly without reconciling with his family, and both of Harry's aides know this, and it's impossible for them to do their jobs without that. And honestly, most people are going to be on William's side because he's the only one coming out of it with his head held high. So if Harry can't reconcile with William, which everyone knows is really the key here, his attempts to rehab his image in the UK are not going to work. Senior officials on both sides will not say whether William's team at Kensington Palace was even aware of the meeting. But is anybody surprised at that? William has drawn a line under it. He's moved on. We know his thoughts and feelings about Harry. I mean, let's go through some of the stuff Harry said in case you forgot. Harry was claiming that William attacked him during the argument over Meghan and he had scratches on his back. Harry claims that William and Katherine told him to wear the Nazi uniform. Now remember, he was in his 20s at that point. Harry called William his beloved brother and his arch nemesis. Harry felt like William was gone forever after he got married. Harry insisted William didn't marry for love like he did. Katherine was just good breeding stock. He also claimed he really wasn't William's best man because several people gave speeches. So here's one of the articles that I believe is the charm offensive. They're basically saying that the Sussexes should come back. They can support British charities, perform royal duties, and in return, enjoy taxpayer-funded bodyguards, and who knows, even some recompense for being working royals. And they will achieve something close to what they originally asked for, being part-time royals. Yes, these are the articles that are coming out, that William and Harry wouldn't even have to spend much time in each other's company, but they would be doing the civilized thing. If Harry knew he had to attend an armistice event in Royal Albert Hall, or regimental dinner, or the Chelsea Flower Show with Meghan, he simply would not be able to go on leaking malice in private and whinging in public. And this is a quid pro quo, because they would have to abandon some of their commercial ventures, which Meghan might not like. And it would also rule out the Duchess's ambitions of political office if she has them. But they could strike this deal and it would enhance the strength of the monarchy and the popularity of the family. I'm not kidding. It's already started. These people are freaking delusional. The articles talk about how popular Harry was before he was married, but if they don't bring them back into the fold, they're going to become increasingly bitter and they're going to give more interviews or write other books designed to inflict personal wounds on the family. They will seethe, they will seek revenge, and this row could prove fatal to the monarchy. I don't believe that at all. What's being reported now is the Sussexes are becoming less interesting. People are sick of hearing about peace talks between Harry and Charles. What about William? Charles, they're saying, is going to pass away sooner rather than later. And it must be for the future of the monarchy that Harry has to come back in. It's being insinuated that the half in, half out could be back on the table, which I refuse to believe. And they're saying the Sussexes would simply have to stop making so much money. They're also insinuating in these pro-Sussex pieces that it is a matter of life and death for the institution and that there's a fundamental problem, and that is that the Sussexes are crucial to the future of the monarchy, and with the Windsors refusing to treat them with respect, dignity, or kindness, they should plead with the Sussexes to return and promise them whatever they want. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. These two can never return. Her eyes are dead. She is dangerous to Katherine. She's dangerous to the monarchy. Best to leave things the way they are. Oh my God. All right. Put your comments down. You know I'm watching. Make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list, as well as a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.